Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Hi there, welcome to New Life Live. So glad you're with us here today. Great day, always a great day when Dr. Sheri Keffer is in with me. Sheri, good to see you.
Hey, good to be here with you.
And we're going to have Dr. Daniel Amen on. Before introducing Dr. Amen, I want to mention to everybody that on June the 12th at 10 a.m. in Newport Beach at the St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church will be the memorial service for Dr. Dave Stoop. There was a small gathering at Graveside, and then now that churches and places are opened up, they want to do something, and I think it's going to be quite a memorable time. And if you would like to honor Dave and his family, then it's on June the 12th at 10 a.m., Newport Beach, and it's at St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church where Dave and Jan attended. And we'll tell you more about it as we go along. But I really hope that you'll join me and the rest of the New Life family and all the folks there from the church and all around and honor such a great man. I also want to mention that Father's Day is coming up on June the 20th. And I've said it before, but the perfect gift is every man's Bible. Why? Because it provides that biblical truth foundation. You're not going to find it anywhere else in a better Bible. It's the best-selling men's study Bible, and so many women say he never read the Bible until I gave him one of these. So it's a great Father's Day gift. You can get that by calling 1-800-NEW-LIFE. All of that having been said, let me introduce to you today our special guest, Dr. Daniel Amen. Dr. Amen, I'm so glad that you're here, and we'll talk a little bit about the new book. Once again, Your Brain is Always Listening, and I was just wondering if you're on and you're listening, because I can't see you there.
I am on. Hi, Steve. Hi, Sheri.
Hey.
It's a joy to see you, my friend.
Yeah, really good to see you, and grateful that you're here. This book, love this book, and because we all know that we have these things that sometimes take over the best of intentions, and they really can mess up our happiness and joy. And I want to combine those thoughts with something that came across. You do these great feeds on different topics, and the other day I got one through email. People can sign up for your stuff on ways that you could absolutely ruin a relationship. There were 8 ways, and your brain is listening to a lot of things that are destructive to relationships. Well, what's your perspective on how somebody can really mess up a pretty good relationship?
Well, I love the quote, if you don't heal what hurts you, you can bleed on those who didn't cut you.
Yeah.
Wow, really powerful.
Bringing the past into the present is always fraught with pain and difficulty. But what we've seen at Amen Clinics, if you get your brain right, your mind just tends to be so much better. And your brain is always listening. Feed it the right information.
And not to sound vulgar here, but, as you said, you can bleed on others that didn't cut you, but you can also cause others to bleed, right?
Yeah.
We see that all the time by not taking care of the hurt that's happened to you. So great point, Dr. Amen.
Yeah. When we heal, it does have a healing impact on others, and just the opposite is true. If you want to join us, the phone number 1-800-229-3000. Thanks for being with us.
I feel blessed to have had this opportunity for my needs to be met, connecting with other women who are fighting the same fight, hoping for healthy marriages and growing closer to the Lord on their journey.
My name is Sheri Martinkus, and I want to personally invite you to the Restore Workshop. If you have been affected by betrayal, it might be that your husband has been looking at pornography, it might be an emotional, a physical affair. I would love for you to come join us.
I feel encouraged and hopeful that even in my struggle, I am enough.
You will leave with hope, with a community of sisters ready to support you, and you will also leave with tools to move you forward on this journey.
Through the sharing in our small group, I realize that I am not alone.
Please don't hesitate. Pick up the phone, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. I would love to see you there.
The Restore Workshop is coming to Dallas, Texas, June 25th through the 27th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here, Dr. Sheri Keffer, and Dr. Daniel Amen. And here's something I think is really important, and it's a combination of this email I got from you about how to ruin a relationship 8 different ways, and then also your brain is always listening. If your brain is always listening to your partner complain about you more than affirm you, criticizing you more than pointing out the positive, good things, your brain's listening to that, and it's going to ruin that relationship. We have done the research. No person has ever gotten better from nagging, constant criticism, and just a really negative, nasty attitude toward you. It causes you to defend yourself and stand your ground. But Dr. Amen, talk about that, this thing of always pointing out the negative and complaining. People hear that and they don't forget it.
We're actually in the middle of a 30-day happiness challenge. People can sign up at 30dayhappiness.challenge.com, and it's based on these 7 questions that you ask yourself every day. But question number 6 is notice what you like about others more than what you don't. That's how you shape behavior. If you're just noticing what's wrong, you're going to get more of what you notice. And the research is very clear. If you're noticing more of what's wrong about the people in your life, you're more likely to be divorced. You're more likely to have children that won't talk to you. The research is just so clear. And it's a bad habit. And your brain is always listening. I talk about bad habit dragons, the things we just do habitually without really thinking about it. And negativity, and often it's because people grew up in trauma. People grew up with negative parents or in an abusive relationship. One of the things I've been thinking a lot about recently is the ACEs score, Adverse Childhood Experiences score. And it's on a scale of 0 to 10. And people who score 4 or more actually die earlier, like decades earlier, than people who score below 4. And it just reshapes your nervous system to notice what's wrong. That was adaptive if you're growing up in chronic stress. But don't take it with you because you end up pushing people away. And people should write this down. No connection means no influence. If you really want to have influence over the people in your life, you have to be connected to them. And negativity causes disconnection.
Yeah, well, it's so good. And we say it this way, it may sound a little trite for people, but like when you're dealing with kids, connection over correction. If you don't have the connection there and you're always telling them what to do and how bad they are, it's not gonna go well. The other thing I was saying on a phone call recently, grace before mace when you're dealing with your kids. You want to give them a break whenever you possibly can. All right, let's go to the phones. By the way, if you want to join us, 229-3000. We'll be here for 2 hours with Dr. Amen. And here comes the caller all the way from Alexandria, Virginia. Barbara, you're on with Dr. Sheri Keffer and Dr. Daniel Amen. Hi there.
Hi, it's such a pleasure to speak to you, Dr. Amen. I'm one of your success stories, and I'm still in the process. I have a question about hyperbaric oxygen. So I had a stroke in January of 2020, and one side of me was completely paralyzed, and then the Lord said, put her back, and I came back, and I never had any therapy or anything. And then a month later, I had it, and I couldn't remember anything. It was 50 first dates. Everybody would say something. They wouldn't talk to me. My doctors wouldn't talk to me because I couldn't remember. I couldn't make a memory. And so my boyfriend went studying up, and he found you, Dr. Amen, and brought me to the resting clinic where they did all those tests on me, made me mad and tested my brain, and then made me passive and tested my brain. And they recommended hyperbaric oxygen. So I've had about 30 treatments with hyperbaric oxygen, and it brought me back. I mean, I'm almost as brilliant as I was before. I have 2 PhDs, so I'm just sort of kidding, but I'm not really sort of kidding because I've always been very spaced out, but I used to be able to remember things. So anyways, what I wanted to ask you is they recommended 40 treatments. I've had about a little over half of that, like 25 or 30. And I am moving to Roanoke, Virginia, and I've also been thinking about getting a home one, but it's less oxygen pressure than the ones at the clinic. And I was wondering if it would be good for me to, because I find that if I stop taking them, I start to regress. And so I was wondering if you thought that a home hyperbaric oxygen treatment was good.
So, Barbara, I am so glad you called. You just, I told people I'm in the middle of this happiness challenge. Well, that's what makes me happy, helping someone like you get their brain back. And the study we do at Amen Clinics is called SPECT, and SPECT looks at blood flow and activity. It was actually first developed for people who had strokes. And I have a friend at UCLA, Mike Usler, who showed me SPECT scans before and after hyperbaric oxygen therapy. He's like, Daniel, look at this. And we saw significant improvements in blood flow. And that was over 20 years ago. And I've been a huge fan of using oxygen under pressure. So think of hyperbaric oxygen. That way people go into a chamber under pressure, and it increases stem cell production in the brain, decreases inflammation, increases blood. And we've seen people with head trauma, people with strokes, people with infections have better brains. And I'm a pretty big fan of home chambers. And yes, if you go to a clinic, they can put you under more pressure. But a home chamber is, you can go in every day. Or I have an NHL player, a hockey player, who goes in twice a day. And, rather than just have 40 sessions, you can end up with 300. My wife, Tana, had a hysterectomy about 2 years ago. And what most people don't know is that general anesthesia can actually be really hard on your brain. And she had really low blood flow. And you could just tell from, she had brain fog and memory problems. And we have a home chamber, and she goes in a lot. And it really helps her. And a lot of psychiatrists, they, never think about the brain. And what we found is there's these natural, non-toxic ways to have a better brain. Barbara, with a better brain, you're so much happier. Not only are you your brilliant self again, but I know
I'll never be like that. I'm a 70 now, so.
But, right.
Okay,
the
so
older we get, I'm going to be 67 this summer. The older we get, the more serious we need to be, so we don't become a burden on someone.
All right, so what I'm hearing is that although Barbara's concerned about the intensity or pressure being less with the home unit, you can do it more frequently, and that's going to benefit you because of frequency. Is that right, Dr. Amen? That's what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
You know, it's just such a testimony, your book, Memory Rescue. When you think about Barbara, we hear her voice, we hear her excitement that she was able to come back online. And without that intervention, without finding you, Dr. Amen, without going to the clinic, without getting that really clear directive of what her brain needed, she wouldn't have known that. She may have today been struggling to still have conversations. She might have been left with some long-term short memory problems, or she's not even the person that she is today. And so thank you, Dr. Amen, for all you do for so many of us.
Yeah. So I'll send you a copy. Hold on, Barbara, of Your Brain is Always Listening. Hope you'll really enjoy that. And I really do. I'm so glad you called to give people the results. Like you say, you've got 2 PhDs. You've seen and felt and understood yourself in one way. Now you've done this. It's a different experience, and I think that is a lot of credibility. And people that have not considered hyperbaric treatment, give it some serious consideration. Let's go to Debbie, Green Bay, Wisconsin, and she watches us on that NRB television network. We're glad that she does. Debbie, how are you, and how can we help today?
Hi, my name is Debbie. I grew up with alcoholic parents and a long line of alcoholism, and I watched my mother die a slow death of alcoholism. So lo and behold, I marry an alcoholic, and it's 38 years later, and I believe he's in the final stages of alcoholism. And I've gone to Al-Anon for 16 years, and I've read Amen's book and a lot of books on ADD. I've seen a therapist here and there. So I feel stuck, and I'm not with the alcoholic right now because of my circumstances. And I think I need help because I know I'm not living my life, and this is like re-traumatizing me. Again, because I'm not with the alcoholic, but I feel like he's dying of alcoholism, and I might have post-traumatic stress disorder. And I thought it was ADD, just for anybody listening. Sometimes when you're living with active alcoholism or an addict, you look ADD because your focus is on the other person.
Mm-hmm. All right. Quick question.
Yes.
What were some things that you did to try to intervene in this person's life? Anything come to mind you're thinking of?
I went to Al-Anon.
Mm-hmm.
And he did get in recovery for a while, so he knows what it is, but he's very stubborn, like a lot of alcoholics, and I feel like he's just hopeless and depressed, and kind of takes me with him. Mm-hmm. And I'm proactive. I've done a lot in my life to deal with this, but I'm in another cycle where I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do?
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna ask Sheri to respond first, and then we'll have Dr. Amen respond. Sheri, what are you thinking?
Well, hey, Debbie, thank you so much for being so honest and transparent with us. Tell me just one sentence. You're separated because you said circumstances, but that's not clear.
We have 2 places. I have a place up north, and I broke my hand and my wrist under the stress and ended up in a rehab place. So my husband went home to mow the lawn, and I am stuck up north, kind of. So alcoholics tend to run away, and that's where I'm at right now.
Well, so this is the thing, is you watched your mom die.
Right.
And my concern for you, it's called a trauma replication, meaning we experienced something really painful like that growing up. And Dr. Amen at the beginning of the show talked about the ACE score, like you take a test for adverse childhood experience. Well, you had one. You had a number of them.
Right.
If you were to take that, you might even be 4+, right? And Dr. Amen was talking about at the beginning of the show, things that we do, how we live in this hypervigilant way. You live that way growing up. It's not serving you with your husband. My one question to you is, what is keeping you from breaking free? Because you are set up to watch another alcoholic die. And that breaks my heart. I mean, you're on a slippery slope, girl. And the fact that you broke your wrist is maybe inconvenient, but maybe it's giving you the opportunity to sort out what you want to do. I would hate to see you be in a situation. Well, not only did you spend your early childhood in an alcoholic home and watch someone die, but that you'd be doing the same thing again.
Right. I know.
All right, hold on. I've got to go to a break, and we'll get more help here after this. Hi, this is Steve Arterburn from New Life Live, and Chris Williams and I are doing the Emotional Freedom Workshop. A lot of people are in, you could literally say, in bondage from past trauma that has created an emotional web that they don't understand, and it prevents them from being free. A person that loses their temper regularly is not emotionally free. Someone who has anxiety just to get in the car and leave the house is not emotionally free. And walking around with the shame from a childhood or even a bad relationship as an adult, that is not emotional freedom, and we can help you get there.
The New Life Emotional Freedom Online Workshop is Saturday, August 14th. Steve Arterburn and Chris Williams will present information on the power of our emotions, procrastination, guilt and shame, and more. And small group leaders will help you process the information you learn. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or register online at newlife.com.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
You guys are awesome. You're a blessing to America.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, please call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back, and we are talking about alcoholism. Somebody dying from alcoholism, and Debbie is separated from the one dying from alcoholism. Wants to know if this could be PTSD. Sheri, continuing, then we'll turn this over to Dr. Amen.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention another thought, Debbie. When we've grown up in an alcoholic home, some of us can become chronic caretakers. We're bred to take care of somebody else based on what we grew up in. And I really want to give you permission, because sometimes in their groups, in the 12-step groups, and I've been in my own 12-step recovery because of my own dysfunctional family and history, there's a phrase that says you need to stay on your side of the street. And sometimes I contend with that in certain situations, because what happens if we think, well, I'm going to stay on my side of the street and he's on his side of the street. Right now, you're both in two different households, kind of like stay on your side of the street. But if you go back home and get into his car, let's say he was a reckless driver, would you keep getting back into the car of the reckless driver? No. You would say, I don't think I want to get into that car because that car ride is hurting me. I want to ask you to do three things. As a chronic caretaker, we miss this. Number one, we didn't grow up with self-care. And so we don't know how to focus in on what we need and take care of ourselves. We feel guilty. Even my conversation with you today may make you feel guilty. How could I leave him to himself to die? Right? You're going to have to face that and give yourself permission to focus in on you. Number two, is the situation I talked about with getting into the car, right? It's okay to give yourself permission to not go back if that's what you think would be better for you. And number three is, you said you have some therapy every once in a while. I want you to be selfish. It's not selfish. It's actually what I call self-care-ish, right? There's some people that are selfless. Chronic caretakers are selfless. I want you to be self-care-ish, meaning focusing on you by getting back into therapy, and I want you to go regularly. Not just kick a tire there, girl. You're going to need somebody to help you make choices to let go of the very thing that you feel compelled to do, is chronically caretake.
Let's hear from you, Dr. Amen. She's asking about PTSD, feels paralyzed, things like that. What are you thinking?
Well, Debbie, I'm so glad you called. I actually studied children and grandchildren of alcoholics, and I often say I know more about this than I want to know. My first wife, I'm like, why are you mad at me all the time? And she had a suicide attempt, and in getting her help, I realized, even though I talked to her every day for 3 years when we were teenagers, I didn't know her dad was an alcoholic. Her dad beat her mom, and it changed her in a very hard way. So I studied them, and they actually have a very high incidence of both depression, anxiety, and ADD. And let me just give you something really practical. So how do you know if it's ADD or PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, is if you have ADD, you have a short attention span, you're easily distracted, disorganized, impulsive, procrastinate, and you've been like that your whole life. Trauma is, you actually did really well in school, you were organized, teacher loved you, you got stuff in on time, and then if you're in a chronically stressful marriage, that's not ADD, that's emotional trauma. And, you know, perhaps getting to our Chicago clinic where we could look at your brain, that could be so helpful, because we're really good at distinguishing, is it your emotional brain's just on fire from the years of chronic stress, or do you have sleepy frontal lobes that a little bit of supplements or medication could really help you focus so you can then do your life the way you want to do it? I mean, there's just not a simple answer. I'm raising my two nieces who are 16 and 11 because their parents are addicts and they're bad parents. So it's complicated, it's hard, it's not a simple answer. But working, you know, I always love what they say when I get on an airplane, and thank goodness we can get on airplanes again, is if the masks come down, you have to put yours on first. So you're not going to be any good to anybody if you don't take care of yourself, like Sheri was saying.
All right, I'm really glad that you called. Let me also send you a copy of Your Brain is Always Listening. And then I'd also like to send you a little workbook. It's the Life Recovery Workbook. And I think that's going to be a great help to you. I'll send you a third thing, which is Understanding and Loving a Person with Alcohol and Drug Addiction. I send that because I just don't think we ever know everything we need to know. We need to never stop learning when somebody is really in trouble. You're listening to New Life Live. If you want to join us, 1-800-229-3000. We're talking about Dr. Daniel Amen's book, Your Brain is Always Listening. Well, we're really talking about what you want to talk about when you call us at 1-800-229-3000. I'll mention before the break, a gift of any amount. We send you Dr. Dave Stoops' book, his wonderful book, You Are What You Think. You are what you think, of course, because your brain is always listening to what you think, and it does make a difference. We'll take this break, and we'll come right back for more of New Life Live, which you could be watching right now on the New Life Live YouTube channel. See what we look like. It's not that bad, really.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I did go to Take Your Life Back. That's why I continue to support the ministry with the hope that not only am I helping my own situation, that I'm helping others as well.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of the 8 books in the Arterburn Wellness series, including Understanding and Loving a Person with Attention Deficit Disorder and Understanding and Loving a Person with Sexual Addiction. Plus, there are ongoing benefits like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here, and Dr. Larry Sonnenberg is right there with us, Doctor of Finances, and he's in the studio. Larry, what do you have for us today?
Steve, I'm smiling a little bit here today. We have brought, a matching gift. Most of you are aware of this. I've been repeating it over and over. $459,000 to start. As of this morning, we still need to cover $71,000. But then people opening the mail shared a couple of checks with me, and before the day's over, we'll be down to $50,000.
Oh my goodness! All right,
so,
we've done it because we're so close.
We're that close, and I think there could even be one person listening to this program who will remain nameless, because I don't know who it is. That might be able to make that difference up.
Wow.
But however, it might be a lot of people that just come forth at the last minute and help cover this. We've got less than a week to go. So thank you, everybody who has given, is giving, will give. God is blessing New Life. He is helping people's lives change forever. It's why we do what we do. Quick testimony. Lady, she's... South Dakota, actually. She said, since the Finding Freedom online workshop in August, 3 of us from our small group still meet online for 2 hours every Sunday afternoon. That was the best thing to come out of it. I'm 75. I've never been in a church small group setting. I never realized how impactful and helpful they are. And then she also said, the call center at New Life is so different from other ministries. The people are willing to talk and pray with you. I never hesitate to call.
That's so great.
All of that is so good. And just so people know, right before the broadcast, Larry and I were on a conference call talking about what is next. What is a need that we need to be meeting through our intensives, workshops, things like that. So, with your support, it has been so great. We're able to look at where do we go next to meet the most needs.
Yep.
Anything else you want to add, Larry?
Nope, just can't say thank you enough or often enough. So.
All right. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. If you can help us, call us. NewLife.com is the website. but we would love for you to give us a call, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's the number. And gift of any amount, we'll send you Dr. Dave Stoops' book, You Are What You Think. Thank you, Larry. Let's go over here and talk with Randy, Reading, Pennsylvania. And the WBYN is that station. Hey there, Randy. How are you today?
Hi, Steve. I'm doing well, considering different things are happening. But I enjoy your guys' show. Thank you very much. It's awesome. It's very informative, and you guys are always very helpful for me. So I appreciate you guys.
Thank you. What's going on with you today?
All right. So growing up and through my younger years, I had 4 bad concussions. 2 frontal, 1 right side, 1 rear. And, of course, when I was growing up, it was like, oh, just sleep it off. You'll be fine. Okay, no treatments as they have today for, concussed people. And lately, I've been having more migraines. I usually have 2 a year, if at the best. On my dad's side, the family, his mom's side, it's hereditary. He gets them. My older brother, I get them. But my question is, would it be a good thing for me to go get scanned? Because I've been having cognitive issues recently as well, too.
Okay. Dr. Amon, what do you think when you hear about the concussions, migraines intensifying or increasing in frequency? What's the thought?
Well, the short answer, Randy, is yes, you should come get scanned. Because how do we know unless we actually look? And then we could put you on a rehabilitation program to get your brain as healthy as it can be. At Amen Clinics, goodness, it's hard to believe it was 14 years ago, we started our big NFL study at a time when the NFL was in denial that they had a big problem with concussions. We showed high levels of damage, but 80% of our players get better when we put them on a rehabilitation program.
Oh, that's good.
Things like hyperbaric oxygen. One thing you might want to look into, headaches with past concussions. Yes, it can be genetic, but it could also be this thing called the Irlen syndrome, IRLEN, where after a concussion, people begin to have depth perception issues, headaches, anxiety, depression. It looks like ADD, but it's not. And wearing colored filtered lenses can actually make a big difference. Now, the color is different for everyone, but that's something we'll screen you for at the clinic, and I've just seen it be incredibly helpful for people. Having concussions is a major cause of psychiatric problems that nobody knows about because most psychiatrists are at the brain. Brain is soft, it's hard. We just have to do a much better job. And like you said, decades ago when you were a child, people just didn't take them seriously. But even today, I'm actually actively treating a hockey player, a National Hockey League player, and he had a wicked concussion. Somebody hit him and his head hit the ice. It was really wicked. And basically the treatment was rest until he saw us, and we got him in a hyperbaric chamber, put him on supplements and neurofeedback.
Okay.
The brain can heal.
Yeah, there is one. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. What were you going to say there?
There is on my dad's side of the family. On his dad, there's depression and anxiety. So I mean that over the course of the years has affected me too. And I do a lot of meditation, reading Bible, and I don't medicate for it because it's not real severe. I don't ever feel like I want to end myself because I want to be around as long as possible. And I coach gymnastics, and seeing concussions happen with that, I do know now, that the treatments I had were minimal and compared to what they do with the kids today.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you called, because if it was my brain, given your family history, what you've been through, I would sure want to see it. I'd want somebody to look at it who knew what they were looking at, see what was going on. One of the great joys, when I was able to go and get a SPECT scan done, I saw what parts of my brain were firing on all cylinders and what parts had lost a cylinder or two. So it's really great insight on what's going on up there. And it wasn't all bad news, almost all bad news. But anyway, it was good to see that and experience it. So I would hope that for you. I'll send you this book by Dr. Amen, Your Brain is Always Listening. And I hope and pray that will be of great benefit to you. 1-800-229-3000. If you'd like to join us on the program, just like Joan has from Boston, Massachusetts, WEZE. You're on with Dr. Daniel Amen, Dr. Sheri, Keffer, Steve Arterburn here. How can we help today?
Thank you very much for taking my call and being there. I kind of have a loaded question, so I'm going to try to say it as slow as possible.
Okay.
What is the best way to heal and recover from when you get triggered from your past when you're with others, whether they're positive or negative, without feeling worse and wanting to isolate yourself?
Okay, so can you give us an example of something recently, a person you were with, and they triggered all this? Can you give us that?
Yes, I can. I have a daughter who decided she didn't want a mother, and I have a neighbor who's always bragging about her wonderful daughter that does so much for her all the time, in detail. On the outside, I say, "Oh, that's wonderful. You're lucky to have her, or blessed to have her. I wish I had that." And then I go home feeling bad.
No, who wouldn't? Oh, it's just
that would be an example.
That's really tough. Dr. Amen, what are your thoughts here about this neighbor, the trigger, her feelings?
Yeah, it's really hard. And it triggers, and your brain is always listening. I talk about the inferior and flawed dragon. And that dragon comes when we compare ourselves to others. And, I always think when we think someone else has it better than us or they're more normal than we are, odds are we don't know them well enough, and you don't know all the ins and outs, right? Some people paint a really rosy picture because it's their defense against pain. The question for you is there anything we can help with to help heal the relationship you have with your daughter?
I don't know. I'm trying to respect her space. Her father died recently, and I've tried to just text her occasionally here and there. This is the first time in years that she texted me to say Happy Mother's Day. That was a biggie.
And what did you do when she texted? When she texted you Happy Mother's Day, what did you do after you got that text?
I was so excited. I texted her back and said, "Thank you very, very much. I so appreciate that."
Okay. All right. We'll give some more insight here right after this. Listening to New Life Live, 1-800-229-3000.
I came into this thinking that my husband was the cause of many of our issues.
The New Life Intimacy and Marriage Workshop is coming to Washington, D.C., July 23rd to the 25th.
But after learning about our attachment styles, I understood how our past hurts were playing into our present problems.
Join Steve Arterburn.
It's been a dream of mine for a long time to help people to grow more intimately together, and we believe that everybody has room to grow in the intimacy level of their life.
And Mylan and Kay Yurkovich.
We help couples understand how their attachment style is sabotaging their current relationship. And then we teach them how to create comfort in a relationship.
And New Life's group counselors will help you focus on the area that will benefit your marriage most. To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Here at this workshop, we had our first ever conversation without yelling, blaming, and accusing.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again. You seem to be able to get to the crux of a problem quickly.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for you and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools
to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly, and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-639-5433.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here, and we are talking about being triggered. One neighbor saying how great it is with her daughter, and then you feeling really crummy about yours. I think, Dr. Amen, you really asked an excellent question. The whole point of what could be done to help this with your own daughter. I mean, that really is more valuable than dealing with the trigger about the daughter. Let's get all the help we can get. What are you thinking there that Joan might be able or willing to do?
Well, whenever you compare yourself to someone else in a negative way, you feel bad. You actually trigger that dragon. And so watching that comparison trap, so important. There are treatments I love, like EMDR or havening, that helps manage those triggers or eliminate those triggers. But really, the big issue, your hurt, your sadness, your disappointment is in your relationship with your daughter. I mean, I have 4 kids. I understand that, you know, it's your biggest joy and it's your biggest pain. But when you've had a high ACE score, like we've been talking about, when your past has been painful, often, you know, you take rejection more intensely than others. And so I love that she texted you Happy Mother's Day. I love that you responded to that. Can you really focus on noticing what you like about her more than what you don't, and in that way try to rekindle the relationship?
Yeah, that's so good. Sheri, your thoughts?
It's amazing to me how something can happen and that can separate a mother and a daughter. Do you know what happened? What was that pivotal event, that either a pivotal event or maybe a chronic way that you two were with each other that caused the separation?
She started rebelling as a teenager. And then when she graduated high school, left for college, she just wasn't the same after that. She just wasn't the same at all. And she didn't have a relationship with me or her father.
Okay.
And then years later, she decided to get into a relationship with her father because he had come back from leaving and being out of state.
Right.
And then she still didn't want a relationship with me. And because her father died recently, I was really hoping that would change.
Do you know what your daughter needs more than life itself, from you in particular?
No, I don't.
Acceptance and love. Because what happened a long time ago when she rebelled is she felt your frustration, she felt your anger,
I'm sure.
She felt your judgment. And her brain was listening back then, right? And so it encoded all that. And what she hasn't felt from you consistently is your acceptance, your love, no criticism, no judgment. I would give you some bleach and I would say, girl, you wash that away. If there's something she's doing that you don't agree with, don't talk to her about it. What she really, okay, good. What she needs.
I don't say anything negative at all.
Okay, well, that's good. Now, but you can't just sit in your corner and wait for her to come for you. So you build on the positive, like the Mother's Day thing. You could say something like this. Just text her. Hey, I was just thinking about you today. What is one positive thing you could say about her? What is one thing you know about her that you appreciate and love?
I have done that already, just out of the blue, just text her, and I usually don't get a response.
Okay, well that was before
I'll
Mother's.
Just thinking about you. Hope you have a great day today, or whatever. I really hope you're doing good at work, and I will be very positive with her, and I just will not say anything negative at all.
Okay, so let me help you out here. I'm going to just tweak it a bit. That was great, but I want it to be better. Okay, because what you just did was ask her. So you said, I hope it's going well at work, and I hope you're having a good week. That has nothing to do with her as a person.
Yeah.
I want you to think about her. What is something about your daughter? Do you even know her? Do you know her?
You know, one thing I always enjoyed about you, honey, was when you were a little girl, you always loved to explore. I hope that you're still exploring. It was so fascinating to see the way you would be so brave even when you were young, and I hope you haven't lost that spirit. That's just one of the greatest things about you. That is so about her, so about you remembering her. It's in your mind, your body, everywhere, and it's something for her to just delight in. Oh, my mom really did love me, all that stuff with dad and everything, but mom loved me. Those are the kind of messages that really can penetrate some of the long-term resentment that's hard to let go of and is only let go of like on a Mother's Day. So really like what you're saying there, Sheri. I think it's very, very helpful. And here's what I'm going to do. I'll send you a copy of Dr. Amen's book, Your Brain is Always Listening. Sounds like we're going to need to get another case in here to do that, because I want everybody to have this book. But let me send you a copy of Forgiving What You'll Never Forget, and just get into this forgiveness and acceptance mode. One of the greatest quotes ever, right out of the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous: acceptance is the answer to all my problems today. And accepting your daughter as she is, and accepting what she might love and delight in, such as favorable memories of her past. My wife was just sharing the other day about our daughter Amelia, and how in an televised interview she put her hand over my mouth for me to shut up. So, things like that, and she's continued to be independent. We want to remind our folks we have not ever forgotten those great things. We're going to be in the studio another hour with Dr. Amen, and so glad that you could join us here. It's 1-800-229-3000. I do need to point out a few things before we go. We have an Every Man's Battle workshop online coming right up on June the 12th, and we would love for you to come and be a part of that. That's the same day that we're going to be at the St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church in Newport Beach, 10 a.m. for Dr. Dave Stoops' memorial service. And then intimacy in marriage. I think it's one of the best things we do. Mylon and Kay, we're so fortunate to have them work with us on this. It's July the 23rd, 24th, and 25th in person in Washington, D.C. You heard someone mention the Emotional Freedom workshop that Chris Williams and I do. We're going to do that on August the 14th. If you need help, we want to help you. All you have to do is call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. You can ask us, you can get a copy of Dr. Amen's book, Your Brain, well, it's always listening. And what it's listening to, it's listening to a lot of that self-talk that's really, really hard on it and hard on your life. So call us. We'll get a copy to you there. Also, Dr. Amen mentioned that happiness project. Yesterday I mentioned the research that just came out that the way to be happy is trying to make somebody else happy, doing things for them, getting out of yourself into other people, being a really great resource to others. Thanks for joining us. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.